In this video, we are going to talk about a mech which was conceived as an idea in the dying days of the Star League, but was born into the waiting mech bays of the armed forces of the Federated Suns. Exclusively built by House Davion by Saurian Enterprises, today we are going to talk about the Valkyrie. A light mech weighing in at 30 tons, the Valkyrie was originally commissioned by the Star League Defense Forces, but didn't reach production until after the beginning of the First Succession War. Designed and built by Saurian Enterprises on New Avalon, capital of the Federated Suns, this machine would be produced in reasonable numbers throughout the entirety of the Succession Wars, despite many of its peers going extinct during this time due to the destruction of mech production facilities across the Inner Sphere. The ability to produce this mech at scale, in some cases over 100, perhaps even 200 a year, resulted in the Valkyrie being used often by House Davion in its military, but also with battlefield doctrines being built around its use, as it's one of the primary mechs consistently available. The Valkyrie's abilities as a battle mech, however, may be more in question at times, but when it's the mech on hand, it will always be viewed positively. Though, to be frank, to quote Timur the Lame, it's better be on hand with 10 men than be absent with 10,000. In other words, the Valkyrie, at least during the Succession Wars, performed well because it was available. Designed as a light indirect support mech, the Valkyrie would face a series of challenges, and would change over time as many other designs did to better accommodate its original purpose. The first and main production model of the Valkyrie series is the VLK-QA. This machine would come stock with a 150 Omni standard engine, giving it a maximum speed of 86.4 kilometers per hour, or 8 movement points in the tabletop game. In addition to this, it would have a maximum complement of jump jets, giving it the ability to leap up to 150 meters, or 5 movement points in the tabletop game. Though not slow by most mech standards, the Valkyrie is relatively slow for a light mech. Some of this is offset by its jump jets, though as a whole the mech is not the most maneuverable for its weight class. The Valkyrie spends 1 ton of heat sinks, giving it a maximum of 11. This ton seems oddly spent, given the wild differences in its weapon systems. To be blunt, this seems to be an overcommitment in heat management for a design that really wasn't hurting for heat capacity. For weapons, the VLK-QA has the largest single missile system in 3025 in a 30-ton mech. This is to say, it has the Devastator Series 7 LRM launcher with 10 tubes, which allows it to fire standoff attacks and provide indirect fire support, and is often the primary mech utilized for this, with recon assets requiring LRM backups. For close range support, the QA is equipped with a single Sutel 9 medium laser. Individually, this leaves the Valkyrie undergunned and potentially able to be picked off by other recon assets, especially those that are faster than itself. Though it's not meant to be caught in this situation, it's not hard to imagine it happening, and it does, in fact, happen. Finally, for protection, the Valkyrie is very well served in the armor rating category with a substantial 6 tons of standard armor, providing it near maximum protection. The VLK-QA is a bit of an awkward design. While it can do some of the jobs that are required of it, it doesn't have a huge store of ammunition, or enough speed to escape the opposition it's most likely to face, and is often slower than dangerous medium mechs that may stare it down as well, such as the dreaded Phoenix Hawk. It does have some redeeming qualities for what it is all the same, such as heavy armor and jump jets, providing it with the ability to potentially keep ahead of these problems. There are some designs that are really bolstered by their variants, and the VLK series is definitely one of them. It essentially only has one other configuration during the Succession Wars, the VLK-QF, which only replaces its medium laser with a flamethrower, so we will not be covering that in this video. Instead, we are going to be covering 3 other variants from other eras. The VLK-QD was built in 3049 and would be the premier Valkyrie design and refit for the Clan Invasion. It would have endosteel internal structure added to save weight, as well as ferrofibrous armor and a case for its LRM ammunition. Artemis 4 would be added to the LRM system, and it would have a medium pulse laser added instead of a medium laser. This is an overall upgrade over the original, taking everything it does and improving on it with new technology. Though it still has most of the same shortfalls, it is nonetheless one of the complete Lost Tech upgrades seen during the invasion. The VLK-QD1 is another major overhaul of the Valkyrie and outright improves its capabilities in most respects. Outfitted with many of the latest technologies, though some add fragility, it comes with an XL engine, baseline double heatsinks, and endo steel, freeing up multiple tons of weight. This gives it the capacity to have a targeting computer on board, an ER medium laser, and most shockingly of all, a full LRM-15 launcher with Artemis 4 installed, improving its primary weapon system significantly and providing it with even more ammunition for this system than any of the other stock models. This is an evolution of the design at the cost of durability, but improving every other element of the core design. The final model we're going to talk about today is an export model of the design, modified by the Taurinian Concordat. It would become one of the most radical divergents from the original Valkyrie. The VLK-QT2 would increase the speed dramatically to 111 km per hour through its 210 XL engine, and possesses double heat sinks. What is fascinating is the design utilizes a light PPC, but then goes on to replace its LRM launcher with a Streak SRM-6, giving it a reasonable brawling ability, especially with its speed. Heavily armored for its weight, possessing two reasonable weapons, the QT2 is a new take on the design from the periphery and has very good capabilities in its new brawler role. The Valkyrie is a mech designed to tackle indirect fire support as a light mech, and can do this role to some extent, except when faced down by other, faster mechs. It excels at fighting heavier formations, though not as a true indirect fire support mech, but almost as a harasser, keeping at range and peppering opponents with missiles until they run out, and then vacating the battlefield. This design would remain largely unchanged throughout the years, and new technology would bolster this ability rather than remove it. It of course is not without weaknesses. Standoff strikes often have trouble hitting, and limited ammunition can be problematic for the Valkyrie in multiple designs. In addition, it is too slow to avoid engagement with faster light mechs, especially those with close range capabilities. Its damage is also inconsistent. With only one launcher firing, it can unfortunately fall short of damage expectations even when landing shots every turn. The Valkyrie is a staple of the forces of House Davion. It has fought under its banner for almost 400 years and will continue to do so in various forms. To fight alongside the armed forces of the Federated Suns is to fly alongside the Valkyries into battle. Thank you for joining me here today. If you enjoyed this content, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. There is also a YouTube member program that supports this channel as well, and I appreciate the support from members immensely. With that, I will catch all of you in the comments section below.